23. July. Before I knew it, school was out for the summer and I had to say goodbye to Liesel. I didn't tell her I would be spending most of July in juvie. If I told her, she would want to know why, and I had no intention of telling her or anyone the long, incredible story. They would think I was making it up. So I told my mom I was going away on a trip. Some trip. She probably forgot everything as soon as I told her I was gone. Poor Mom. On the morning of July 3, Janice and Joseph drove us to what would be our home for the next 28 days, the Juvenile Detention Home, Juvie. We started saying our goodbyes in the lobby. A month soon passes, especially if you're busy, said Joseph before they left us. You're all strong. You'll be fine. We'll be back for you on the 30th, said Janice, trying to smile. The house will be so empty without you. Think of it as a well-earned holiday for you and Joseph, said Billy. You deserve a break from us, agreed Tom. I was immediately separated from the boys. I felt totally alone. The boys were lucky. At least they had each other. The less said about juvie, the better. I didn't like it, but it could have been worse. Breakfast, as much as you wanted, was at 6. If you were late, you got nothing. There were 8 girls, ranging in age from 11 to 16. Joseph was right about the work. It was hard. We started at 7. Everyone was put to work cleaning. The supervisors were strict, but they were fair. I worked mostly in the kitchen and the laundry. Work ended at 6. Then it was supper and back to the dormitory, a long room with 20 beds. Lights out was at 8 o'clock. For the first week, I ached all over. Most of the other girls had been there before. Some of the hard cases had been there several times. They hassled me because it was my first time. I had a fight after lights out with an older girl. She kept on at me with her foul language. She took a swipe at me and I ducked. I punched her in the stomach twice and kicked both her shins. The fight was over before it started. The other girls screamed with excitement. They left me alone after that. The night supervisor, a big woman, they were all big women, named Miss Coke, gave us a tongue lashing. She woke us up at 4:30 the next morning to run around outside in the cold for 30 minutes wearing only our PJs. Seeing Janice and Joseph when it was all over was like seeing a pair of shining angels. They hugged us. Janice was crying. I was so happy, like Christmas and Easter and my birthday and my mom's birthday all rolled into one. Tom had a black eye and a Band-Aid on his forehead, but he was grinning like he just won the lightweight boxing championship of the world. It looked to me like Billy had enjoyed being in jail. He was an inch tall and he looked like he'd completed a triumphant exploration of the jungles of darkest Africa. Chapter 24. Saturday night, a week later, I was sitting in my bed trying to brush the juvie out of my hair and mind. Will you brush my hair when you're finished? Lisa asked. Janice would be taking her to the hospital on Monday for her operation. Right now she was sitting on her bed, pumpkin in her lap. Of course, I'd love to brush your hair. Want me to braid it? It'd look so cool with lots of little braids. Sure, she said absent-mindedly, patting Pumpkin's back. Do you think getting my tonsils out will hurt? I'm really scared. Don't be scared, Lisa. Once your tonsils are out, no more sore throats, and you get as much Jell-O and ice cream as you want. Just thinking about the operation scares me. The worst part is I'll have to stay overnight at the hospital, all alone. Her eyes filled with tears. I held her and she buried her face in my shoulder. I sure missed you when you were away, she murmured, and the boys. I missed them too, but I missed you the most. She felt small and thin like her bones were twigs. And I missed you, I told her, patting her back. You shouldn't worry. I'm sure the operation will be quick. They'll put you to sleep and you won't feel a thing. Are you sure? I'm positive. And when you wake up, we'll all be there. Janice and Joseph and the boys and me. Our whole family. Promise, she said, rubbing her nose on her pajama sleeve and sniffing. Everything is going to be all right, kiddo. I promise. Showering and scrubbing took me longer now that I was coming home smelling of horses. I tried to get home for a shower before the others so I wouldn't have to put up with rude comments like, "Phew, did someone sit on a skunk or something?" from Tom. It was great having that extra bathroom. Janice and Joseph surprised us with a new bathroom when we got home from juvie. My job was cleaning out the stalls and brushing the police horses. I actually didn't mind it. I loved the horses and I loved learning about them. They were starting to recognize me, especially when I brought carrots and apples for treats. I got to work with a nice First Nations woman named Denise. I was lucky. I had the best job out of the 3 of us. Billy worked at the recycling depot, sorting glass, plastic, newspapers, and cardboard. Came home filthy too, although he didn't smell as bad as I did. Tom's job was the worst. He got to scrub pots and pans in the kitchen at the Burnaby General Hospital. Filthy, smelly pots, he complained when we were hanging out in the boys' room one night. Downright disgusting. Hey, Tom, my man, Billy said. You want to trade jobs halfway through? I'll do your job at the hospital, and you could do mine at the recycling depot. All that fresh air and sunshine, you'd love it. You'd do that? You'd trade with me? Sure thing. What are friends for? Billy leaned over and gave him the 2-fisted musketeer salute. He turned to me. What's family for, right, Nails? Right on. All for one and one for all, I said, grinning at him. By the way, I've gone back to my real name. No more nails, okay? Tom's eyebrows disappeared under his spiky hair. No more nails? I like Nell, Billy said when he gave me one of his sweet smiles. If I hadn't been lounging on the orange beanbag, I probably would have melted right there. Nell's a good name, said Tom, nodding thoughtfully as if there had been some doubt. My father used to say, "We learn little from victory, much from defeat." I looked at Billy. Billy looked at me. What's victory and defeat got to do with me changing my name back to Nell? Tom shrugged. I'm not sure. Billy laughed. Then I laughed and Tom joined in. After everything that had happened, I was ready for my real name. I'd worn nails long enough. It was time to be me again.